right now. Brought to you by Ford and your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. It is Dallas Cowboys owner and general manager Jerry Jones. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, guys. Kevin, Corey, Mike.
Well,
good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you. I was really curious, considering what happened in the Cardinals game, I know going a little bit back, is there ever a concern about letdown against a seemingly weaker opponent, or do you feel like that's been addressed?
No, I think there's always and should be a concern. Every team you play has excellent talent, and make no mistake about it. Now, they may not be on the same page, maybe relative to another team, but, boy, every one of them are talented. Cardinals are a perfect example. We step in there, and they're not only at home, but they make some plays. We don't make some plays. The fact that I keep saying, the fact that ball is oblong and you don't know which way it's going to bounce, that alone can even up talent, too, if there is any discrepancy. The other thing is that, of course, there's a lot of equalizing when you not only the turnovers, but also, if you will, injury factors. So when you weigh all of that, every game that you walk into, you can lose that ball game in a New York minute.
Jerry, I know a lot of fans would love to see another 40-0 blowout and everything like that, but would you love to see an opportunity, maybe if you do get up and feel comfortable that this team gets the running game going and gets to work on that against an opponent, or is that something for another time?
Well, I have felt that and do feel that we need to throw the ball out of and get our running game going by throwing the ball. If they're going to load up, they're going to really put that kind of emphasis on our running game. So I think that's there. The point is that the way Dak is playing, we'll have to take what they give us, and that's not bad. That's not. He can. We can. I really have a lot of confidence in our receiving core, and I've got a lot of confidence in creative ways to get that ball in the hands of the right guys as far as our running backs are concerned.
Is one of the guys on the receiving core, one of the right guys on the receiving core, Brandin Cooks? Because I know Mike McCarthy said, hey, I don't play fantasy football. The stats don't matter in certain aspects, but it does seem like the team has struggled to get him truly involved.
Well, the probably you could rationalize we're doing a lot with our tight ends, and we've got a great tight end core. And we want to do more with Pollard and backs coming out of in certain situations, slot them or coming out of the backfield. So the point is that Cooks is sitting out there with all that threat, all that speed, and that really contributes big time. And so there's a lot of ways if a receiver that's got the speed will execute his routes. And if he'll run completely through his routes, that means completely finish the route as coached to do, then he's a dramatic influence out there, and he's opening it up for the rest of the receivers. So speed can make a contribution without catching the ball.
And do you feel like Brandin Cooks has been executing that, finishing out his routes all the way through?
Absolutely, I do. Absolutely, I do. Absolutely, I do. He's one of the more accomplished receivers. He's the whole package. We're lucky to have him, and he'll get some big plays. There's no question in my mind he'll get it, and no one appreciates Cooks any more than our quarterback.
Jerry, I've been watching Terence Steele, and I'm seeing a guy that's still kind of navigating his way back to what he was last season before his injury. I was just kind of curious from your perspective and how you handle this. What do you think the most difficult part to overcome is for these guys? Is it the physical or mental aspect of an injury?
I think it's both, and but certainly I'd say physical would be the one that you got to overcome the most. And but it's both. And the other thing is that you've got to look at what the situation is. You've got to look at the emphasis that the opposing team is putting in that area. They're trying to take advantage of that. When you show that you might need to work on something, every team in the league looks at that game last week and they set their course accordingly. So all of that plays a role in it. But we've got a lot of confidence in Steele, a lot of confidence, and it's certainly that was a pretty it was a pretty impactful situation we had there with the pressures. But we can do better there. We can do better with help there as well.
Yeah, that's always like my biggest concern is when a guy can't do something that he physically knows that he's been able to do. Is that like then he starts getting that, oh man, it's in his own mind, that he can't do that anymore, and how does he get back to that point? And where does that help come from? Is that coaches?
Yeah, well, when I think of Steele, I see how he's evolved from coming from Texas Tech. And, boy, he's always had a huge work ethic, one of the most conscientious workers that you've seen, got great length, got the real ability, especially in the run game, to really be an effective right tackle. And then, of course, he has refined his craft, so to speak. And Steele's, boy, I'm glad we've got him. And we've just got to continue to work on the things that, but where he needs it. And I know that sounds trite, but of all of the positions that you can improve with repetition in football, offensive line is the number one.
Now, when you're talking about Terence Steele and Michael Gallup, and I know with Tony Pollard it was just a franchise tag, but still, these are all people who got deals when they were coming off of injury. I'm wondering if you could walk us through the team's philosophy on that, especially since, I guess from my perspective, it seems like all three of them have struggled to live up to that contract so far.
Well, I think that's part of the challenge is you do that every time you make a decision to extend and contract a player. You do that relative to their career, relative to where they are at the years in their career. You do it relative to their experience in the case of a young player. So all of that, to some degree, you're evaluating what they've done, but all that counts is what they're going to do. And so it's all a projection. And that's guesswork.
With that in mind, then, I'm just curious, are you disappointed in Michael Gallup, then, and that projection? Because it feels like he hasn't continued on the path we thought he was on pre-injury.
Yeah, that's probably too strong a word directed to him. What I would say is that we've had players that have had more success coming off their injury. But we've also had them that have had less. And so my point is that it's not surprising. It's certainly a possibility when you basically look to the future coming off an injury. But all of the other things, Michael really has a great connection with Dak. He can really go get the ball. He high points the ball. And he has some skills that we want to take advantage of, and he's had them. We've used them in the past, and we can use them in the future. But it's not in any way a decision-making time relative to Gallup. We just need to get him in there, and he'll make some plays. And to a degree, you've got the same thing, but it's not about injury with Tolbert. And you've got to have a certain projection in your mind that Tolbert can go to in terms of his evolving, and that's his game. That's what you're doing.
You feel like Tolbert's kind of trending in that right direction right now?
Well, I think so. Yeah, I like the way he's certainly gotten to in a positive way other levels from where he was this time last year. And we know physically what he's capable of doing. So I like our receiving corps.
Jerry, this morning Mike McCarthy was on, and Sean and RJ said that they felt like he was a little surly this morning, and that he was a little surly this week with the media. And I was just kind of curious if you noticed that, and what's Mike McCarthy like whenever he's surly?
Well, I think he's got the right temperament. and I say that if he's surly in a response or surly at a moment. But he's got the right temperament. He earns it. He is the real deal. It's not bluster, or it's not brought on by some kind of at time to do this or thought through like that. Mike is a very genuine individual, and what you see is what you are. So if he shows an irritation, then he's irritated. And so, again, that goes with it. From my perspective, I don't have issues with that at all. And this is a very emotional, physical thing that the coaches and players, and for that matter, fans, emotions all over this thing. And there's joy, and there's also there's madness. There's all of the gambit, and you add that to the physical aspect of it, having to call on yourself as a player to get that done. But everybody involved in it are proud we're getting to do it. I'll tell you that.
Do you ever think we got into the wrong business, though, considering how much madness sports drives us to? Like, the joy is amazing, but that madness is there a lot, right?
Well, I'm glad you put it that way, because that's exactly how I've always looked at it. And when the media has had some fun with me and beat up on me, I would say, now, guys, we're about maybe we're second cousins or third cousins, but we're all together. I've chosen to be involved in sports, and I do understand what goes with it. Sometimes I don't like it, but we're all in this thing together. And what I really like about it is that it has fleeting moments of pure ecstasy, fleeting, and boy, they're rare. But man, when you get one, you can live on it a long time.
Jerry, I know we've asked a lot of questions about your players right now and critiquing them. I was wondering this. I know winning this week and winning a championship is most important. How much do you care about your players winning awards? Like Micah Parsons right now is kind of fallen off of the Defensive Player of the Year award right now. He can get back in it. But I was wondering from your perspective, how much do you care about your players winning awards?
Well, usually because it's so visible and so competitive that when you hear a player in consideration for recognition, it's the real deal. He's doing the work that I love. That is beneficial. So I know of very few disconnects that I've ever been seen where a recognition for play or recognition for performance isn't associated with everything that's good for the Cowboys.
And then my other question is, Adam Silver, who's the commissioner of basketball, NBA, he really wants the same attention on his sport that the NFL gets. Whether it's baseball, whether it's basketball or hockey, do you see any possibility of another sport getting as much attention as the NFL does?
Yeah, yes, I do. When I first became involved, basketball, NBA basketball, arguably was starting to catch and surpass. That was been in the late 80s. And you had as much interest. The networks actually came in and suggested reducing the rights fees for the NFL when I was getting involved in 89, 90, 91. And so there's nothing, everybody needs to be appreciative, guarded, and realize that you better stay on your game and keep relevant. And so, I don't take anything for granted, and I sure don't for the Dallas Cowboys. That's why that every way I can in the world, I want the Cowboys to have a relevancy.
I'm curious, are you at all surprised how strong that relevancy has remained despite getting back to the promised land of the Super Bowl or, heck, even the NFC Championship game? Because there's no doubt the team is as relevant as ever. Are you ever surprised that that's carried over so long without the ultimate wins?
Let me say this. I say this tongue-in-cheek, but if it gets a little slow, I know how to stir it up.
Right.
So my point is exactly. My point is that all of that is a part of what makes the game special. It's 365 days. You could argue there's a soap opera going on and off the field during the season, out of the season. There's controversy. There's all kinds of happenings with the players, their relationships, and if you were trying to make a movie out here somewhere, and you were a company that made movies, it would cost you more than to make the movie. It'd cost you more to promote the movie. That doesn't happen in NFL and football, and it's year round. And certainly it happens in the fourth quarter of the year. It's apex for football, and that's a big positive. It's when you want the people, decision makers, in front of that TV screen.
Man, Jerry, you just bring that up with the movie part of it and the families and everything that's involved in the Tony Romo documentary, or the movie about him just dropped. And he does have this one thing that he discusses where he's talking about how, if he does something wrong, it could cost one of the guys on the roster their job and their whole family, and he has to think about their kids and all of those things. And that does seem more like it's the idea of preaching the family environment in a locker room and how much those guys do rely upon each other. And does that go into the thinking whenever you're making decisions on rosters too?
It's called team. Team. There is no such thing as it's just you, because you are a part. A lot of people are relying on you. It's a team, and that extends itself on out into our fans. But boy, a lot of people are riding with you when you put that effort out at practice, or you put that effort out to make a play, or how you conduct yourself. All of that, a lot of people rely on you. If you are absent there, if you're short there and understanding your responsibility to others, then you're not as good a teammate.
So, Jerry, I know you've given us a lot of stories over the years, and I'm going to give you maybe an opportunity to share one we've never heard. My baseball agent was at the general managers meetings, as a lot of agents are, and they had a major virus breakout, and there were general managers having to run to the bathroom because they couldn't hold themselves anymore, and they had to actually cancel the meetings because of how many agents and general managers had a, let's say, stomach virus running to the bathroom. Mm-hmm. Have you ever had a major meeting, whether it's football or other, where the meeting had to stop because of a virus?
Just a minute, I'm eating my sausage and biscuits here on this. What in the world are we doing talking about that?
That's Mike. That is Mike Bassick right there for you, Jerry.
Let's talk about setting a good old Miller Lite up on that table and having a good drink, and talking about Pollard getting it going off.
Well, we got all kinds of Miller Lite specials going today at Buffalo Wild Wings.
It is morning and breakfast time.
Thank you
Thanks, Jerry.
very much, good sir. We'll catch up with you next week. Good luck this weekend.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.